Ladies, gentlemen, and young ladies, good evening, everyone. You are once again welcome here on the platform for raising awareness. I tell you about global geopolitics currently. It is mixed, everything is mixed, and everything is falling apart due to the detriment of Washington. The moment I am telling you, talking, it's panic in Washington, panic at the Pentagon. The President, Donald Trump, doesn't know what to do anymore. China joins the dance in this Venezuelan affair. Yes, but the China does not enter the dance with weapons directly. China enters into the conflict indirectly. And China pushes a very, very pawn strong. This pawn that is so dear to his heart, America, is oil. Venezuelan oil. Venezuela has one of the largest oil reserves in the world. To seize it, Washington has been seeking for years to weaken the different regimes Venezuelans. Washington, as if all this was not enough, now wants to have the control of sovereignty Venezuelan, and this by passing through a sort of war unleashed against Venezuela, in reason that Venezuela maintains drug cartels and so on and so forth. But the real problem is black gold which exists in Venezuela. China quickly understood. China has joined the dance. China has just established itself in Venezuela. I'm telling you, it's very, very hot. The situation is serious. Ladies, gentlemen, and young ladies, as part of this video conference, it is from this news that we are going to speak. But before continuing, I would like to humbly ask to share the video conferencing to the maximum. Put lots of likes and don't forget not to leave your different opinions in comment. And if this is your first times to come across my video conference, my name is Robert Théa. I am research professor at the law faculty at the University of Sfonia. I am president of the Guinean political party, which is called the Citizens Party Service of the Republic. I am declared candidate for upcoming presidential election in my country. You are welcome again. So China is smart. China is very smart. If it is directly involved in this Venezuelan arms deal, the China will be directly accused. But as the investment on the plan economic is not forbidden, China goes through investment on the plan economic. And therefore, this is a Chinese breakthrough in energy Venezuelan. For years, the Venezuela is landlocked and isolated because of the US sanctions that are supported by European sanctions. Venezuela is, how are we going to say that? Isolated in keyboard. Venezuelan oil production has failed due to sanctions. But finally China, which now rises to the first rank of country violators of Western sanctions, the China entered directly into Venezuela by implantation of a floating oil tanker. China has installed an oil company floating at 1 billion. That's first. That's what remains after. China first installed an oil company floating of 1 billion. And if the oil company is installed, the China has a duty to secure its investment. From where we will witness the intervention of the Chinese armies for secure the investment. And it will be at the request of Venezuela. So imagine Iran is already there, then China also arrives. And so it is the Chinese company, China Record Resource Corp, which deployed a giant offshore installation at Venezuela. It happened in the last few hours. The objective of this Chinese company, it is pump 60,000 barrels a day. That's pump 60,000 barrels per day. Yes, 60,000 barrels a day is a significant figure in a country in energy crisis. So, the infrastructure in question focuses on two oil fields keys in the west of the country. Two fields key oil companies in the west of the country. And so China is sending a strong signal. His interest in Venezuelan oil is strategic, sustainable, and massive. This is the message. And on the Venezuelan side, it is a breath of fresh air for Caracas because Venezuela is hit by American sanctions and a production drop for several years. Venezuela is sorely lacking investment. And so this partnership with Beijing allows to partially control isolation imposed by Washington. So Venezuela is gradually coming out of the isolation imposed by Washington. So for Caracas, It is the name of the Venezuelan capital. This is proof that the country is not only big actors still put on his reserves. So this operation gives back to the Venezuela has legitimacy and capacity of economic maneuver. It's a breath of fresh air for the Venezuela, but also it is a signal strong. For Washington, China is not a small power. We have seen what China has shown to the West very recently. I believe it was September 3rd. So this arrival from China in Venezuela, what are the geopolitical implications and strategic? We must already to say that it is a new battle of energy. China secures access direct to one of the largest reserves world's oil companies. China secures direct access to one of the largest world's oil reserves. Beijing is consolidating its energy diversification strategy far from the Gulf and Russia. So Venezuela becomes a piece of pulse, Chinese energy. So oil is not just a resource, it is a diplomatic weapon between great power, which makes it a direct challenge in the United States of America in their backyards. China has just launched a direct challenge. What will be the reaction of the United States of America? And already Latin America has long been considered as the area of influence of the United States. But today, the situation is changing. It is in the process to change. The massive arrival of the China in Venezuela is a snub for Washington. And so Caracas finds Beijing as a partner capable of compensating isolation Western. So in conclusion, with 1 billion invested 60,000 barrels per day, Beijing does not sign only one contract. Beijing signs its lasting establishment in Latin America. Venezuela becomes again a strategic player, and China asserts itself as an essential power and in the global energy war. This is what turns people's minds upside down, Western leaders, and more particularly from the administration American. And so, young ladies and gentlemen, that was the front page of international news. Thank you for the share as much as possible. I'll get back to you soon with news. It was the voice of your humble servant, the Samurai.